Hi, my name is Caroline Poland, and I'm the founder and CEO of Poland and Associates Consulting. Today, I wanted to talk a little bit about what happens in our bodies and our nervous systems when we start to experience a threat. Right now, we certainly are under a time where we're experiencing threat with COVID-19, but in general, we experience numerous threats every day. Anytime I talk about the nervous system or the body, I start with one of my favorite quotes by Viktor Frankl, and he said this: "Between stimulus and response, there's a space. And that space is our power to choose our response. And in our response lies our growth and our freedom." Between stimulus and response, there's a space. And in that space is our power to choose our coping, our reaction to something. Sometimes when we've experienced a trauma, or certainly with repeated traumas, that space between stimulus and response gets whittled away until between stimulus and response, there's no space, there's just quick reaction. So today I want to talk a little bit about what happens in our body when we experience threat, and then what we can do to start to widen that space once again. So let's start by talking about the autonomic nervous system. The autonomic nervous system is responsible for a number of different functions, including digestion, our heart rate, our respiratory rate. The autonomic nervous system is broken down into two branches: the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. The sympathetic nervous system is where fight or flight exists, and that just speeds our body up. And parasympathetic nervous system is slow and regulated. So our sympathetic nervous system is where fight or flight exists, and that gets activated anytime that we start to experience a threat. So the sympathetic nervous system not only gets activated when we're actually experiencing a threat, but any perception of any potential threat is enough to activate that nervous system. And a perception of any potential threat might be the fear of judgment by someone else in our peer group, the potential of not passing a test or passing a class, basic things like that. But certainly right now with coronavirus, we not only have the perception of a potential threat when we think about leaving the house, but every time we do leave the house, we put ourselves in a potential for coming face to face with a threat. So what happens when our fight or flight system kicks off, when we go from parasympathetic nervous system dominance into sympathetic nervous system dominance? So we have right up here in the front of our brain, our prefrontal cortex. That's a part of our brain that doesn't finish developing until we're 25, and that is where our executive function lies. It's where our reasoning lies, our ability to manipulate facts and data and make wise decisions. It's where resiliency and coping can come from. But what happens when we start to experience a threat is that part of our brain slowly goes offline, and we move down into our amygdala. The amygdala is like the smoke detector of our brain. So it sends off this warning that something is going on, that we might be in danger. And then we can use our prefrontal cortex to kind of survey the scene and determine if we are in danger or not. But when we start to lose the regulation and that nice balance between our prefrontal cortex and our amygdala, we start going more and more and more into our amygdala, and we just experience things as danger, 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 without the ability to regulate or reason or determine whether something is in fact dangerous or not. Well, what does that mean for us right now? Right now, if we are maintaining our sympathetic nervous system dominance, where things are being triggered off as a threat over and over and over again, which is not uncommon because most things that we do can be perceived as a threat right now, including going on a walk, right? We see someone coming down the street coming at us, and that person, even if they're someone that we know, can be viewed as a threat because we don't know, do they have the virus or not, and then therefore can they give that to me? And so the things that we would have been able to use maybe as regulation tactics before, or the people that we used to find comfort or attachment in, right now might be considered a threat. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Poland and Associates Consulting. Continue to check back on this channel for other videos on mental health and wellness during this time.